Okay. Um, move back a little bit. So sit comfortably cross-legged or any comfortable position. Keep your neck and spine perpendicular to the ground. And gently close your eyes. And look inwards, listen inwards. Put your hands by the side on the ground, just the fingers. And lift your sternum up, broaden your chest. And relax your shoulders. Relax the thighs. Relax your pelvis area, your abdomen, your chest, and your neck. And then bring your attention to the crown of the head. And let the attention drizzle down in all 360 degrees. I meant 180 degrees. And then bring your attention to the forehead, to your ears, the back of the neck. And then the front of the head, the forehead, the nose, the eyes, eyebrows, cheeks, the upper lip, lower lip, and the chin. And keep the sternum raised. Keep your chest expanded. Take a few deep breaths here. Expand your chest as much as you can and let it go. Deep, rhythmic ocean breathing. And let the hands be in chin mudra at your knees if you're sitting folded. And then bring your hands to the heart center in Anjali Mudra. And bow your head down ever so slightly in gratitude. Not gratitude towards something, but just gratitude within itself. Yoga is the journey of aloneness. There is nobody out there to help or not to help or to destroy or to bring you down. We take full responsibility in yoga about uplifting ourselves. So the gratitude is towards the existence, the entire existence. It's not towards anything in particular, but the whole infinitum out there. And take a deep breath and we'll say 3 Omkars. Sarvepi sukhina santu. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kashid dukhamapnuyat. Om sahana vavatu. Sahana bhunaktu. Sahaviryam karvavahai. तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Take your glasses off and rub your palms and gently cup your eyes. Okay. So today is being the second last Sunday of the month. We typically do the yin yoga of restorative yoga, sometimes yin yoga of holding the poses for a long time. Today I was going to I was thinking of focusing on alignments, and of course the awareness factor is always there. But how are these poses aligned, and what is important, and where to pay attention, and stuff like that? Because in the flow, when you're doing one pose to the other, we have no time for these alignments, and they're very crucial in terms of how your body reforms itself. Because all through the week, we are typically sitting in the front of the computer, holding this mouse, typing with the fingers, and sometimes we forget how are we sitting. So we forget to sit erect, and then we start slouching like this, and then everything goes down from there. Okay, so alignments are important, and we'll probably focus on some of those today, and we should get going. So today we're going to skip the warm-up. I would say have a block and a belt if you have one, and keep it handy if we need it. All right, so we are going to start with some forward bends and some backward bends and some standing poses, trying to get this alignment. So we'll stand erect, first of all, in just simple Tadasana, okay? Just Tadasana, a tree pose. Tadasana is a palm tree. We are imitating a palm tree, but there are no winds right now. So we're just gonna put our hands by the side as these leaves are pointing downwards, and we are standing absolutely erect. So keep your toes together. Make sure your knuckles, or rather the ankle bones, these bones, are touching each other at the same time, and the heels are kind of just tangent to each other at the back. All right, and we're going to stand erect with the hands on the side, with our sternum pushed up, broaden your chest. So the alignments will look something like this. All right, let's take a golden thread and pass it from the center of the crown of the head right here. Take that thread and imagine that that thread is going through the head, through the spine, and through the pelvis, through the side in the center. And then it goes and exactly drops where the ankle bones are touching. Okay. So sideways, if I were to draw that line, this line is going to start from the crown of the head, from the center of the ears to the center of the shoulders. So make sure you roll your shoulders back very nicely like this. And then it is going to go through the center of the pelvis, and it is going to go to the center of the ankle bone, which is facing outward, and then finally land on the heel, at the bottom of the heel. And that is where our alignment should be in Tadasana. So we're going to stand and close our eyes and just basically understand what the mind is doing, okay? And you will notice at the soles of your feet, although you're trying to stand erect, I'm going to move out of the mat because the mat adds that thickness to the thing. So stand firmly on the ground, if you will, and notice how the body shifts from the ball of the foot to the blade of the foot, the heel, and to be able to get centered, move forward a little bit, rock from forward, backward like this, and feel how the weight is shifting from the ball to the heel. And then center yourself so that a perfect, beautiful triangle is formed between the ball and to the center of the blade on the side and to the center of the heel. And stand perfectly still. This is one of the most difficult poses because it involves mind. And we have a wavering mind. The mind that cannot sit. It's like a bird that cannot sit on one branch for more than 15 seconds. And it jumps from one branch to the other. And the moment the branch shakes, it moves to the other branch, thinking that the other branch is not shaking. And it sits on that other branch and realizes this branch was shaking too. And it moves on and on and on from one tree to the other, from one position to the other. And same wavering mind creates this internal psychological winds inside, and that creates this kind of movement at the soles of the feet. As the mind moves around, those winds affect us. If we have an absolutely standstill, one focused, single focused mind, you will realize slowly, slowly that the wavering, the moving, the wobbling will come to a standstill. Okay. Now that we've centered ourselves, we're going to take the left hand and put it on the side just like this. Okay. Not too much of pressure, just keep it loose, but it is fully in contact with the left thigh. And then take the right hand, turn the palm outwards, and then move it up.
Once you move that up, connect the earlobes to your biceps. Okay, keep the hand straight. I'm going to move a little bit backward just by one step. And then stretch your palm, stretch your fingers. So their fingers are not doing this, but they're stretched outward, and then pull yourself up on the right side. Now, take the left leg or left foot and move it just about the hip width. So your hips, this is the hip width,
That's a shoulder width. It's a little different.
so move the foot hip width apart and stretch yourself on the right side. And then with the lateral movement, not bending forward or backward, we're going to push just the pelvis a little bit forward, just like we do it in Surya Namaskar. Keep your toes parallel to each other, so your feet are parallel to each other. And then we're going to slide this palm down towards the knee. And we're going to push our pelvis in that direction. Okay, so we do that. And then your pelvis is a little bit forward. Okay, your hips are moving a little bit forward just so that you get a nice balance. And then we're going to turn the head to the right side. And while doing that, maintain the connection with the earlobes with the biceps. Okay, so you're just generally twisting, but you're also looking upward. And then you're going to be in this position for a few counts. You may want to close your eyes if you wanted to. If not, just look upward. This is a version of Ardha Kati Chakrasana. Kati is your kambar, is your waist, and we are bending in that direction. So we are kind of trying to cartwheel, if you will. And so it's called the Chakrasana, Ardha Kati Chakrasana. So we are just bending this way, creating enormous stretch on the right side. Okay. And that stretch is important in burning all the excess um, stored of fat on the waist. And also, this is a mental exercise because it needs endurance. Because after about 15 to 20 seconds, your mind is going to rebel. Your body is going to start screaming for rescue, and it will seek the help of the mind to get out of this pose. And we may wonder, so who is it that is not trying to rescue? Or who is that entity? What is that entity that is just observing silently this dialogue between the mind and the body? And focus on that entity, which is absolutely neutral in this game of mind and body. And keep your hands straight, stretch your fingers, close your thumb, and let the fingers bend backwards while you're bending sidewards. And just observe. Observe from within the dialogue between the body, the primitive intelligence of the body trying to communicate with the mind, with the help of the subconscious mind to the conscious mind, trying to basically not like this position. It is reacting to this. It is saying, I don't like this pose. It is hurting me. Get me out of there. And the silence witnessing element of Atman, the silent Sakshi inside us, is just being equanimous to this position. It's just noticing, it's just acknowledging that the body is bent, the mind is upset about something, and maybe there is some essential tremor by now in the body that is trying to basically resist this gravitational pull on the right side, on the left side. And right at that moment, the mind decides that the body should come back to its original state. And it gives instruction to the body, and the body starts straightening out. And then the hand is instructed by the mind to come down slowly and gently. All right. Now, we are going to repeat this game, this dialogue between the mind and body. Now, what is going to happen? The subconscious mind and the conscious mind, they are already anticipating what's coming. Okay. And the body has no awareness of any of that. So the body doesn't know. The body is back to where it was. And so the mind, again, instructs the left hand to rise and connects the biceps to the earlobes.
And the silent witness inside takes note of that there is movement in the body, there is some movement in the mind, and the right hand starts sliding down towards the right knee. And the body is being pushed on the left side from the hips. And there is a stretch that the silent witness notices, and it says nothing. It only notices. It only takes note of what is happening out there on the periphery. Now, instruct the left hand to stretch upward and instruct the fingers to bend backwards and stretch the palm completely while the thumb is closed position, and the body is bending in the Ardha Kati Chakrasana on the right side. So this is how gently one has to do yoga every day without raising the heart rate, without raising the breath rate, keeping the breathing normal as far as possible. Now, normal is a term that changes by the moment. Okay, so normal breathing is uninterrupted, unmanipulated, unmanaged breathing by the body intelligence, and let the body figure out its own breath rate, its own heart rate. And we're not doing anything from our side, which we cannot anyway, because the Atman or the Sakshi is never ever involved in any action. So all the action that takes place is at the mind and body level, whether it is physical action or psychological action. But all of that action, all the verbs are associated with the mind body system. The Atman, the Sakshi, has no verb. There is no verbiage there. There is no verb there. It's only observation with equanimity. So by the time I think your body has already anticipated what is coming, so it will start, the subconscious mind will start screaming from within for rescue. You are feeling this excruciating kind of pain, but this is where the tapa starts, the part of the do's and the don'ts, the yama and the niyama. The yama are the don'ts, the niyama are the do's. And one of the do's is the tapa. And you surrender to the infinity, Ishvara Pranidhan, Ananta Samapatti Bhyam. Because remember, yoga is the path of alone, is a path that is untrodden by anybody else but yourself. The path less taken. And that path, we create our own path every moment. And that path is the first and the last step. Krishnamurti says the truth is a pathless land. So what path are we talking about? Okay, with that, instruct your hand to come up, your body to come back to normalcy. And bring your left hand, observe that the left hand is coming down. Okay, so that was a good journey that we went on. So now we're going to go into another forward bending. Sorry, we did the sideward bending, but we're going to go into the forward bending pose. So I'm going to turn my camera a little bit towards the wall so that you will see what is happening here. Okay, so I'm going to move the mat a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to stand about 18 inches or so, or maybe even a foot away from the wall. And I'm going to take my hands at the back and feel the wall. Okay. Once you feel the wall, put your fingers on it and bend forward with the head looking up. Bend forward with the head looking up so that you do not round off your back. And that will create a beautiful backward bend from the mid back. And then we're going to gently move our bummy towards the wall and touch the wall, and then free up the hands from the wall. And then put your hands on the knees and then push your back upward while looking up. All right. So you see where we are going with this, right? So we are basically gently managing the mind body system, managing the heart rate, managing the breath rate. And while managing that, you will realize that the heart is fairly comfortable, the breath is fairly comfortable, and we are letting the gravity pull ourselves down while we're still looking up. Okay, so the body is cantilevered from the wall, and we're going down, down, and down. And if I may call this Padahastasana, but if you look at this, what it is, it's a standing Paschimottanasana. So if you practice like this every day, slowly, what's going to happen is all those muscles in that area are going to get used to this kind of stretching. And we're still trying to look upwards, keeping the back straight. And the hands are only resting. I'm not really supporting the back, but if you do need to support, if you have low back issues, I would say do that. And then come up a little bit to the shin and look at your own back and see if it is still straight. Okay. Then keep looking straight ahead. Bring your eyes to the center of the eyebrows in the Shambhavi Mudra. The Shambhavi Mudra comes from the word Shambhu. Shambhu means the Shiva, the Shankar. We call him with love Shambhu. You know, in India, we abbreviate everything, right? Everybody's names get abbreviated. Even here, we do that. Bill becomes William, becomes Bill. So think about this. The Shiva is Shankar, Shankar becomes Shambhu. Shambhu becomes Shambhavi in the mudra, because mudra has this female side to it. Mudra. It's not mudra, it's mudra. So that female side gets added to Shambhu, becomes Shambhavi. And then we get into the Shambhavi mudra, looking between the eyebrows. Between the eyebrows, keep looking so that we are not focusing. Here are the benefits of Shambhavi mudra, okay? We don't typically realize this, we just take these things very casually. But the Shambhavi mudra is practiced mainly because it focuses on the Agnya chakra. The Agnya chakra is located, if I drill a hole in the center of the eyebrows, all the way to the spine at the back, the spinal column, or if you will, the spinal cord, it goes and touches the spinal cord at the back. That's where the Agnya chakra really is. All these chakras are along the spine. And when we are focusing, we're focusing all our energies on the Agnya chakra, which is the command center. That command center gets activated through Shambhavi mudra. But also one another benefit, which is very easy to understand, is when you are in Shambhavi mudra, we are not looking at anything outside in specific. We're not focusing on anything, but we're just looking. And what that does It brings all your energies imploded inside rather than going outside. So the energies are flowing from the five Jnanendriyas, the information centers, the information sensors. There are five of them. And then there is Karmendriya, there are five of them too. So what happens is when the energy doesn't flow outward, like what I'm talking to you right now, I'm using my tongue. Tongue is another Karmendriya, right? And that energy is being utilized. So if I don't talk, the energy is conserved. If I don't look at something, anything in particular out there, the energy is conserved. And then that energy, instead of flowing outward, it starts flowing inward. It starts going inward and implosion happens. It implodes onto itself. So these are the advantages of Shambhavi Mudra. But also now another benefit, the third one, is when we do not focus on anything outside, the outer world starts becoming or seeming like a dream. The outer world starts seeming like a dream. And when the outer world starts seeming like a dream, it also, because the eyes are open, it doesn't let you dream inside either. Guess what happens? You know, because when we are dreaming, the energies go out there. When we are dreaming outside or inside, daydreaming or night dreaming, whatever it is, the energy goes outward. And when that dreaming stops, we get closer and closer to the reality, closer and closer to the truth. Now see if you can hold your two um, big toes with the two fingers, the index and the middle finger, and see if you can hold that. Okay. So, and then connect your hands back to the wall and push yourself up very gently. Do not disturb that heart and do not disturb that breathing. And if you look at my own heart rate right now, it is very, very normal. I did not push it, but I got the benefits, the psychological and physiological benefits. All right, so now we're going to get into a little bit position of endurance, which is going to strengthen the thighs. And I'm going to take a block and put the block on the floor right here. If you have one, please utilize it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my right toes on the block while my heel is resting downward, so that I'm doing this. All right. So you can bring the block, the edge of the block, to the center of the blade of the foot. All right. So once you've done that, I'm going to take my left foot back. Okay. And the way the alignments work here is, if I drew a line from the center of my foot, it goes to the center of the heel, and that straight line goes and meets the arch of the back foot. Okay, so it bisects the arch of the back foot, while the foot at the back is turned inward a little bit by about 30 to 45 degrees. Okay, whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, now another alignment that you have to understand in this pose, you know where we are going. We are going into Virabhadrasana. Okay, so what we're going to do now, to protect your knee, make sure that the knee doesn't protrude beyond your ankle. Okay, that is very, very important. You don't want to hurt your knee, but at the same time, if you take the center of the knee right here, okay, so let me show it to you from this angle. So I'm going to take my block this way, and I'm going to put my foot right on top of that. Okay, and when I know I'm wearing dark, so you can't really see, but what I'm trying to imagine is this position right here. if there was a plane right here, it goes from the center of my knee and it situates itself on the width of your foot at the center of that. All right. So, and then I'm not pushing myself beyond the ankle. Okay. So mind you there. And these alignments are important to get the maximum benefit out of it. There's a reason why these alignments are important. So we're just not cruising through these poses. All right. So it's important to know these. So again, I'm going to now take a line and make sure that it is bisecting. All right. I'm going to see if I can raise my toes up. And then I'm going to start settling into the pose. So I'm going to go down. You can move the back foot further out, 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 so that you can then come to a good 90-degree pose right here. All right. So now what is happening is my foot is flexed backwards. So it is stretching all my calf muscles and everything down there. And I'm making sure my knee is centered on the width of my foot. I'm making sure that the line from there is kind of going through the arch of my back foot. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my left hand and pull myself in that direction. Pull, 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 so that this line here, if I were to draw a line here, is perpendicular to the mat. Okay. So after having done that, I can still go back a little bit and adjust yourself, get that beautiful 90 degrees, pull yourself back, and then open your chest up in this direction. Okay. So you want to be able to do that. Now you can, if you have a stick, I generally use the stick to align myself. Okay. So I put my stick like this. So it makes sure that my hands are perpendicular, parallel to each other. They're parallel to the ground. And I can see in the mirror how my alignments are working. My chest is nice and wide open because the sticks makes that easy. And then I'm going to pull myself down and then pull and then settle and settle. All right. Once I do that, once you get into this pose, I just look straight ahead, over my shoulder, over my hand, over my middle finger. So if I take the stick out now and keep pulling yourself backward, because your body will tend to do this. So keep pulling backward and look straight ahead. Virabhadrasana 2. And come out of it. So this is how the alignments need to be followed. Okay. And then you come out of it. Let's do the other side, of course. You have to balance the body. So I take my block on this side. And then I'm going to keep the stick by my side so that I can get a nice alignment. And then I'm going to put my left foot on the top. And I'm going to take my right foot, get a nice lunge at the back. All right. So typically the way you get into the pose, you stand in Tadasana like this. All right. And then here. And then you jump basically wide like this. So that if I tie a thread on my wrist and if I drop it down, it should touch the foot out there. Okay, so that is the alignment. So this is how you get into the pose, and then you turn your foot out and then you get in there. But today what I'm trying to show you is how to use that block and how these alignments are important, because when you jump, we are probably not that perfectly aligned, but I think here we go. So we take that right foot back this time, and then draw an imaginary line between the center of your foot to the heel, and see if it is cutting through the center. It's bisecting the arch at the back. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to make sure that I'm not doing this. I'm going to keep my hips pointing in parallel with this. Okay. Make sure your knee is centered on your foot, and then you start bending downward. Okay. If you need more space at the back, just make sure that the knee does not go beyond your front, your ankle bone. Okay, so stay on that ankle. Grab your stick if you have one, and then get that alignment. Open the chest up, look back if you need to. Make sure that your right hand is pointing in the right direction, and then look straight ahead. If you feel any kind of excruciating pain, any acute pain in your knee, just back off a little bit. All right, it's okay. You don't have to get that perfect 90 degrees today, and neither I am. Look at this, because I have a injured left knee. I know that I'm not going to push it. All right, now with the right hand, I'm going to pull myself backwards so that my torso, my center of the chest, my navel, and the center of the hips, the groin area, if I drew a line, I'm perpendicular to the mat while I'm looking straight ahead. So it opens up your chest and you look straight ahead. And then you get rid of the knee of the stick and look straight ahead. Now this will push your heart rate up, but let the body manage it. We're not interfering that. The beauty of these poses that the body manages the heart rate. The beauty of yoga, if you do it correctly, you will always stay in your heart rate zone according to your age. And I've been observing that for the last, I want to say, at least 10 years, ever since these heart rate monitors came out. And it's amazing how this ancient science is in sync with the modern science. Okay, so to come out of this, straighten your foot, put it back, put your hand on the waist, jump and come out. There you go. So we just did Virabhadrasana. Now we're going to relax a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a belt, open it up, and I'm going to sit in Gomukhasana. Gomukhasana is really important to align your back. So what you do, the easiest way to get into Gomukhasana is to stand on your knees like this, kneel down, and then put your right knee in the front. Okay, put your right knee in the front and make sure your left knee is in this view. The left knee is pushing the back of the right knee. All right, and then uncurl your toes and let them be out there. Take your block at the back and basically sit on it. Okay, what this ensures, your back is straight, but it's also ensuring that both the knees, if I drew a line between the knees, it cuts them exactly this way. All right, so now we are entering another uncomfortable position where the mind is going to start screaming, but all that action is happening on the periphery. The center never moves. Think about this. This morning I was thinking, and without the center, there is no circle, right? And the vice versa is also kind of true, right? There is no center if there is no circle. But if you think about a car, right? That hub that is holding that wheel, that energy that we get to perform all these actions is coming from the center. The car wheels are turning because that hub is being powered by the engine inside. And that is what is spinning. That spindle is spinning, that spins the hub, and that spins the tires, and we move. So we propel forward or backward by doing that. So exactly same thing is happening with the center, the Sakshi Tattva, the Atman inside, or wherever it is, it's, I don't know. I mean, you know, they call it the Paramatma and the Atma and all that, but let's not get into that verbiage right now. Let's just logically understand this, that Tattva is the guiding force. That Tattva is giving all the energy, is the source of the energy that is spinning that hub. So now we're going to take the belt and hold that belt from the back, right? Hold it in your fist. Hold this one in your fist. And then connect your biceps to the earlobes like we did earlier on. Okay? And make sure your head is straight and your back is straight. Push your sternum forward. Head is straight, back is straight. And then start advancing both the hands towards each other by grabbing that belt so that they touch each other at the back. I know this can be tough, but this is a reformer. This position is an amazing reformer that reforms the back, the flexibility of the shoulder, and it has enormous benefits, um, back-related benefits. It strengthens the back. It will, you know, it will align your hips properly because both the sits bones are perfectly balanced right now. I'm not leaning either ways. I'm perfectly sitting on both the sits bones while keeping my spine erect, while connecting the hands at the back. So see if you can keep pulling with the belt and you can interlock your fingers. I think I used to be able to do that, but I'm not able to do that any longer, but that's okay because you are not the mind and you are not the body. So the true existence is that center. So never say I'm not able to do it. The mind and the body are not able to do it. It's simple as that. Okay, so hold it there. And what it is doing, it's also stretching your your muscles on your butts. I don't really know all these anatomical names, but that's okay as long as I can point your attention in the right direction. Then sit, pull yourself up, up, up. Make sure the spine is perpendicular. Make sure you're sitting comfortably and your biceps and earlobes are connected. And if you want to close your eyes, you can. And then release your belt gently and come down. Come out of the pose and then put your hands on the knees and put a gentle pressure on the knee. And then grab your left leg and move it inward like this. Move it towards you. Okay. And then sit. Now, this is a very simple exercise. You can, I don't want to call it an exercise. It's a pose that you can basically sit to listen. If you're watching TV after dinner, you want to sit like this. It's great for digestion. It is even great to meditate like this. You can sit for whatever time you can and gently focus on the subtle things that are happening in the body. And breathe out as though you're blowing the candle without extinguishing it. Close your eyes. And wherever you feel the pain, blow the candle, plant your lips at that particular muscle, at that particular spot in your body. And imagine that you're blowing the candle from that muscle with your lips. It's a mind over matter, guys. And I know it works. Whenever you have any kind of pain, just close your eyes and blow the candle from that particular part of the body. I learned this little technique from my guru in Los Angeles, Sarathi Yoga Foundation, Upendra Sanaji. It's a beautiful technique that really helps to calm the mind down because mind is reactive, okay? The subconscious mind is the one that reacts all the time. It reacts in a good way, in a bad way. It is oscillating between something that it likes and something that it doesn't like. It's very, very primitive. It is very, very primitive psychologically. It's like a car. The car only knows how to honk. That's it. If it's good or bad, somebody cuts you, you honk. If you want to praise someone, you drive around their house honking, but the only thing that the car does, it honks. And the subconscious mind knows only two things. I like this, I don't like this. Just imagine how primitive our subconscious is that rules our life every day. I like this, I don't like this. That's the only language it knows, and it communicates through the reactionary behavior. So next time, catch yourself doing that. That is where we are going to go beyond in the field of awareness. Catch yourself doing that. This is why there's so much road rage. The road rage is nothing but because the driving is happening through the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is chit-chatting with the family, with the friends, or talking on the phone, while the subconscious is driving the car. And when that happens, that subconscious only knows, I like this, I don't like this. If somebody cuts you, you know what happens on the road. All that foul language comes out, all that finger showing comes out. Where is all that coming from? Have we ever realized this? Have we ever given a thought to that? The road rage is a primitive demonstration of your psychological, primitive subconscious mind. This is where the meditation, yoga, equanimity, all that plays a role. This is how you slowly, day by day, you train the mind to not react. If you are in an uncomfortable position, we observe with equanimity. And that tolerance, that endurance, slowly increases day by day. And it will calm us down in any difficult situation of life. One will stay calm and composed. And that is the Chitta Vritti Nirodha. This is how you tame that wild elephant, that wild horse. And then you can move the biggest log in the forest. You can run as fast as you can sitting on that horse. And it will take you to places. So with that, we come out and we come to the opposite side. So there you go. And then I'm going to sit on the opposite side. And then bring your heels towards you so that also your alignments are perfectly there. Take your belt this time in the left hand and then go up and move it backwards and catch it and catch it and keep your neck and spine erect. Make sure the hand is not pushing you forward like that. So if it is doing that, open up your hand a little bit so that it is not pushing. With your right hand, start pulling that hand downward. It is going to pull that left hand downward and it's going to align and then hold. And then start climbing the rope. Start climbing the rope with your right hand at the back so that the distance between the two hands is narrowed and you'll be sitting straight at the same time. Here we go. And blow your candle wherever you feel discomfort from that particular pose, from that particular spot. Close your eyes and through the center of the lips, just blow the candle gently so you're not extinguishing it. Control. So slow, controlled exhalation. Take deep breaths and blow through the center of the nose. And focus on the area where there is maximum pain or discomfort. And you will realize that that part relaxes. And remind yourselves to not cave your back. Make sure you have a nice concave curve. And let the belt go. And then come back to putting your hands on the knees. And then pull your right knee inward and exert ever so slightly, just a little pressure on the knee so that it stays down, and sit comfortably. Put your right hand on top or left hand on the top, it doesn't matter. And close your eyes and let's meditate. Let's dive deep inside and observe that subconscious mind inside. See how it is rebelling. It is oscillating between craving and aversion. It is in this aversion mode right now. That wild animal inside us, all that animal instincts are of the lower chakras below the Manipur chakra. The Manipur chakra releases the instinct of hunger. The Swadhisthana chakra is the instinct of desire. And the Muladhara chakra down there, it controls the Muladhara. It gives us the energy for all the bodily exercise. You know, the Muladhara chakra probably is one of the most important, is the base of the instincts. And those instincts are some of the most primitive animal instincts, survival instincts, procreation instincts, all of those are rooted down there. Muladhara sthitosi nityam. And Muladhara is a very important chakra. The energy is oscillating between the Sahasrara at the crown of your head and to the Muladhara chakra down there. And it is said that our prana enters the body from the Sahasrara and leaves from the Sahasrara. And these energies are then distributed through all the other chakras along the spine for our activities, for the vital activities of the body, of all the glands, the circulatory system, the digestive systems. And each chakra has this, it's like each chakra is the governor of that particular state kind of thing. There's a hierarchy in the body as well. And so the Muladhara chakra is the base of the instincts, and the journey of yoga is upward from the instincts to the intuition. The yoga develops the intuition. It's a journey of evolution from instinct to intuition. So Muladhara chakra, instincts, Swadhisthana chakra, desires, and that is the vasana, as they call it in Sanskrit. All the vasanas, all the desires are governed and they spring from the Swadhisthana. And the survival instinct is at the Manipur chakra, which is at the navel. We were connected to the mom from this chakra, from this center. That's why there is that survival instinct there. The survival. It is said that even after we die, the tummy keeps on digesting the food for up to 24 hours because that survival instinct is so strong. The nails keep growing, the hair are still growing, because the body has this primitive intelligence. And then comes the Anahat chakra on the top, which is then becomes the upward journey into the instinct. The heart represents the love. And then the Vishuddhi chakra at the base of the throat is the center of speech, the volition of the mind, whether we have good or bad intents in the mind, and the speech that comes out. And then comes the Agnya chakra at the center of the eyebrows, which is the command center that overrides all the other chakras down there. That's the root, that is the center of intuition that tells you to do or not to do, whether it is right thing to do or not the right thing to do. The intuition tells you that. There may not be any logical derivative vector at that point in time, but intuitively you know the right thing to do. Intuitively you know what is the right thing. Somebody may ask you, can you explain that? You have no explanation for it. But you say that my gut, that gut is nothing but the Agnya chakra. It's telling you internally. And then comes the Sahasrara, the king of all the chakras, at the crown of the head. And you go beyond the instincts, beyond the intuition. And one becomes one with the reality, one with that universe out there. And there is no individual existence of the wave. The wave becomes the ocean. The wave has always been the ocean has always been the wave. But the wave has this ability has the intelligence to say, I exist separate from the ocean. And the moment we do that, suffering starts. Separation anxiety begins, that the child is separated from the mom and starts crying. The child loses its connection with the mom and there is separation anxiety. All through the life, we suffer through this separation anxiety. until we are united, until the Sahasrara becomes fully active and the wave becomes the ocean. The drop of the rain becomes the ocean the moment it touches the surface of the ocean. Till then, we feel that the drop has separate existence. The moment it falls, it becomes the ocean. The moment the Sahasrara chakra becomes fully active, we lose our sense of existence and we go into this state of bliss. And in that bliss, there is no individual identity, there is no sense of ego. Ego is nothing but the sense of existence separate from the reality. That's what happens. And with that, gently open your eyes. And then we are going to sit into Ardha Padmasana or Padmasana and see if we have a few minutes to do some pranayam. So open your feet up and shake them a little bit so that the blood circulation is normalized. And tuck your left heel in your perineum. And if you want to tuck the right heel, it's okay too. All right. And scoot forward a little bit so that you exert a little bit of pressure. And if you want to sit in this position like this with broad, uh, you know, knees pointing outward in that direction at 45 degrees, this one 45 degrees this way. These are various positions to sit um, in meditation or in pranayama poses. Okay. All right. So we can sit like this. Keep your neck and spine erect. Roll your shoulders back. Keep your sternum erect up. Push it forward so that your shoulders are backward. Roll them back if you feel comfortable so that your elbows are in line with your body and not pointing outwards or backwards, so that you're sitting comfortably like this. All right. This position may be called as Siddhasana if you want to call it. Ideally, you want to put both the heels on top of each other. But if you cannot do that, that's okay. All right. So just put your hands by the side, take your glasses off, and sit in Chin Mudra. And gently close your eyes. And look inwards, listen inwards. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam. So we are now from the outward journey, we are going into the inward journey towards the Pratyahar, if you will. And we need a certain state of mind to do pranayam. So we'll start with Kapalabhati. You're going to close the right nostril and do single nostril Kapalabhati from the left side. So exhale fully and inhale half the lungs. And begin stroking your abdominal muscles as though you're blowing your nose. Exhale fully. Do not breathe in yet. Let's count 10. And take a deep breath. Slow, controlled exhalation with ocean breathing. So constrict your epiglottis and hear yourself breathing out like the ocean sound. And then close your left nostril. And if your right nostril is blocked, you can take the index finger and the thumb and you can pull the nostril out a little bit so that you can breathe normally. Okay. Exhale fully and then breathe in half the lungs and then begin blowing of the nose. Excuse me. Exhale. Hold the breath out and take a deep breath. And let it go. Excuse me. And notice the tingling sensations as a result of the hyperventilation that we just did. That tingling sensation is mainly caused by the excitation of all the bodily cells. Wherever the oxygen is supplied, they are in a cosmic dance. They're excited. It is important to hyperventilate at least 3 to 4 times a week to keep your brain plastic, to maintain the plasticity of the brain. Hyperventilation is one of the most amazing things to do. Learning something new every day, hyperventilating, and socializing and spending time with the other human beings. These 3 things play a vital role in keeping us young, keeping the plasticity of the mind. So take a few courses if you want to learn something new, challenge the mind, keep that brain plastic, fluid, flexible. And hyperventilation is one of them. Hyperventilation also oxidizes the fat in the body, and that oxidation forms CO2. We are made of carbon, as we know. We are carbon sculptures, right? When we die, we are burnt, or we are buried, whatever we do. All that burning carbon that left behind is nothing but the carbon that we were made up of. And so when we hyperventilate, that oxidation process gives out carbon dioxide so that this fat is oxidized and burned. And that carbon that we've accumulated goes out. Dr. Vasant Lad of Ayurveda, who has written over 30 books on Ayurveda, talks about this extensively. And this is why Kapalabhati is one of the most important pranayams or breathing techniques. Now let's do both the nostril breathing. Exhale fully and start. Exhale fully and hold the breath out. Focus your attention between your eyebrows and notice any subtle changes happening inside that mental space. Notice the tingling sensations all over your body. Notice the tips of the fingertips, of the fingers, and see if you see any pulsating sensations over there. See if you feel any tingling sensation at the center of your palms. And there is sensations all over your body, but some of the vital spots will have a little bit of heightened sensitivity, heightened activity happening in those areas. And through hyperventilation, it is said that your everyday oxygen intake goes up by about 20%. In some cases, it is noticed to go up by 25%. And if you do this regularly, during your normal breathing, the exchange of oxygen in the deepest crevices of your lungs, 100% of your lungs will become active. We normally are doing shallow breathing and not the entire lung is utilized. Oh, so with this hyperventilation and the pranayam, we are training the lungs, training the diaphragm, training the muscles to breathe deep. So we're going to do a simple exercise that you should do every day. It's about breathing by constricting your epiglottis, and it's called Ujjayi breathing. And constrict your epiglottis and take a deep breath. Hear yourself breathing in. And release air, constrict your epiglottis, get into this rhythmic breathing. Do this for about 15 minutes every day. 15 minutes before you go to bed, and about 15 minutes in the morning. So this is part of the prana karshan kriya that we've learned before. And we're going to do today Agni Sara before we end. So we have about 4 minutes left, um, or 6 minutes left. So in Agni Sara, we're going to sit in Ardha Padmasan or Padmasan. So I'm going to just change my position a little bit and put my right foot on top of my left thigh, and then get into this pose. Or if you want to sit in full Padmasan, you're more than welcome to do that. And what we're doing in Agnisara is similar to something what we did in Kapalabhati, except that there is no exchange of air in the lungs. Okay. So we're going to breathe out completely, hold the breath outward. So that's called the Rechak. Rechak means your lungs are empty. There's no more air in the lungs. Okay. So when you're in the Rechak, you're going to lean forward and then put your wrist pointing outward like that. Okay. So that what happens is it actually, it's nothing special about this. Okay. So it's just when you put pressure, if you do like this, you won't be able to put enough pressure on your knees. But if you do like this, you'll be able to put enough consistent pressure on your knees like this. So you're pointing, facing outward. Okay. And then you exhale, and then you're going to flap your tummy in and out without having any exchange of air through the lungs. So you're holding the breath out and you're pulling your tummy in as far as you can in the Uddiyana Bandha, and you're releasing it. Uddiyana Bandha, releasing it. Uddiyana Bandha, releasing it. Okay. So there are three bandhas that we time to time talk about. The center bandha of the solar plexus is called the Uddiyana Bandha. Okay. So let's do this. We'll do about 10 to 15 counts of these strokes. If you want to do up to 20 counts, determine that in your head what you're going to do. And then we are going to repeat this 3 times. So don't overexert yourself, because that could be like, you'll go short of breath, so you don't want to be in that position. So here we go. Exhale fully. And look at your own tummy. Take a deep breath. Release your tummy and let it go. So we just did one round of Agnisara. There is something called Jataragni. Jataragni is the fire in your tummy. That fire is the solar plexus and the heat of the solar. Now, I'm talking in terms of yogic language a little bit, so don't take this all literally, all right? But it is the fact that we derive energy from the sun through the plants or whatever food we are eating. All that energy is coming from the sun. We eat that food and then we get the energy. Directly or indirectly, we are getting that. So this is where all that solar energy coming through the food is digested, and that digestion happens through Jataragni. Jataragni is the Agni that is in the tummy. We say that let's see how much fire you have in that tummy, all right, to digest the food. That fire we are talking about. And this is why people eat early dinners. Okay, just understand this whole science. The early dinner before the sun sets is important because when the sun sets, there is something, the fire in the tummy also sets with that sun. Okay, the fire, the digestive fire in the tummy is also setting. So this is why eating late dinners is extremely harmful to your body. I cannot emphasize this enough, how important it is to eat the dinner and leave about 3 hours of gap between your dinner time and your going to bed time. 3 hours minimum. So if you ate at around, depending on when the sun is setting, look at what is the sun setting time, eat at least half an hour before that, so that the fire, the Jataragni, will digest the food. You will have enough time for digestion. By the time it's morning, it's time to give up all that food up. Okay. So this is how the science, the circadian rhythm of the body is set. It is all governed by the sun out there. Okay. So that rhythm is to be followed. So this is what, when you become one with the nature, what is it you think it is, right? That being one with the nature, meaning you're getting into the cyclic process that the earth is going through, the sun is going through. There are rhythms of the biorhythms, there are circadian rhythms out there. All of these rhythms are governing. There are rhythms of the lunar calendar, and we all know this, but we don't pay attention to these things. Okay, let's do one more round of Agnisara. Okay, here we go. So we were talking about Jataragni. This Jataragni is, all these vital organs that are in the tummy are super massaged by this exercise. Okay, so let's do that. Exhale fully. Pull your tummy in and release. Take a deep breath, release your tummy, and let it go through Jai breathing. Long, controlled exhalation through the friction in the throat. Ocean breathing out. Take a normal breath. Let's do one more time. Exhale fully. Take a deep breath and release your tummy. And do a controlled exhalation. So a few things of caution. If you ever feel short of breath, discontinue the practice and take few normal breaths. Just do 5 strokes to begin with. You can extend up to 40 strokes. And another thing is, do not eat anything for at least 15 minutes after doing this exercise. So that you know what we're doing is we're churning these abdominal organs, abdominal muscles, and it actually does some vital things to this optimal performance of these organs. Okay, so your tummy is not ready yet. It is, we are creating a cyclone down there, a typhoon, a tornado, if you will, and then all these organs are getting exercised, and so give them a break. All right, let them settle down. We've kind of stimulated them at this point in time. Let that settle down. Let them go back to their normal activity. But that stimulation is important. That stimulation keeps that Jataragni active. So let you be hungry before you actually put something in there. All right. So this will create this amazing exercise. With that, I think we should close out. Sit erect. Let's do Omkar. Take a deep breath. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya chavaidikena yopa pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram Shankha Chakra Siddharinam Sahasrar Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Hariyo. Rub your palms and gently cup your eyes and put all that energy back into the body. And thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Amit.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Amitji.
You're welcome. Welcome. I hope it was worthwhile.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit.